y'all, this is Whitney Nicely from She Buys It, and I'm here today to talk about rent-to-own deals, lease option deals, and my super secret formula to get an even better deal. So I dropped a video today on YouTube, and you can check it out. I think right there. It's all about making verbal offers on houses when you're talking to sellers, all right? It's super duper important that you make verbal offers. But you're already here, so let's talk about what you do after the verbal offer. Well, you get the house under contract, right? You either get the rent-to-own agreement on it, you get the owner financing agreement on it, you get the lease option contract on it, all right? But we are under contract. And I tell everybody, I tell the ladies in First Deal Done Fast, I actually am working with some people right now and helping them get a commercial property purchased. And when I was talking to these people, they were wanting to make a lowball offer. And that happens in First Deal Done Fast a lot, because when people join either First Deal Done Fast or the Mastermind or something, they've usually, sometimes, been through somebody else's coaching program, or maybe they're already wholesaling, or maybe they were taught that you have to buy low and sell high. And that's not how we do things in 2019 in real estate investing, or you probably won't get any deals done. All right? Buy low and sell high, just making one offer and that's all you got? I mean, no. That's not what we do, all right? We're going to make 3 offers, and we're going to make sure that the sellers know, we're going to communicate and let them know that these offers, these verbal offers that we're making, they're still negotiable. We can change. Everything is subject to change. Everything is subject to renegotiation based on what we find as we go along through this process. I was trying to explain in First Deal Done Fast, and I was trying to explain to these people that I was working with yesterday that we need to get an offer out there, and we need to get some feedback on that offer, okay? We can make some verbal offers. I don't even care to write up an LOI and send it in and see what the sellers say about that. But we need to get some offers in place so that we can start the tennis back and forth, all right? And the gentleman that I was talking to didn't understand what I meant. And I believe it's because he's from that buy low, sell high, buy low, hold it forever kind of generation or game, maybe. And he's a super successful business owner. He's a super successful real estate investor. He just does things in a different way than I do it. And the lady that I was talking to said, no, Whitney does this kind of stuff all the time. Let's see what her advice is on this deal. So I told them, and this is the key, y'all, you have to renegotiate. And he said, no, that's impossible. You can't get something under contract and then lower the purchase price before you go to closing. You have to get the low purchase price as soon as you go under contract. And I was like, no. You go under contract, and then you've got 20, 30, 40, 90 days to do your due diligence. Due diligence is a fancy term that we use more in commercial real estate than we do in residential real estate. In residential real estate, it just kind of is a vague thing where we're getting appraisals done, we're getting inspections done, we're getting our financing done. It's while we're, in kind of limbo. We're under contract, but we aren't clear to close yet. In commercial real estate, which the deal that I'm working on with these 2 people, it is definitely a commercial real estate kind of situation, and that's why I am the agent in that. I don't agent for just anybody, and I don't agent just for any deal, but this deal I will do. I had to explain the due diligence process to this gentleman because it is totally possible, and it's actually preferred in commercial real estate, especially in commercial real estate, that you go under contract on a deal, and then through due diligence, it's expected to renegotiate. Because when you're in due diligence, you're going to find out how much they're actually getting in rent. You're going to find out any deferred maintenance that needs to be done on the property or the building or anything. This is when you're going to be able to get the survey done. You're going to get the perk test done. You're going to have all sorts of things done in your due diligence period. And based on what you find during due diligence, you have the right, you have the ability, you have the opportunity to go back and say, you know what? Things aren't shaping up the way we expected them to. We still want to purchase this property, but now we either want some seller carryback, or we want to change the purchase price, or we want to delay closing to see if we can get some things rezoned, or we want to do this, that, and the other. All right, y'all? And that's when amendments come in. That's when addendums come in. That's when you can say, you know what, let's just write a new purchase and sale and put in the special stipulations that this new one supersedes the old one. And there's just all sorts of ways to go back to the seller and renegotiate. And you can do that with rent-to-own houses. You can do that with lease options. You can do that with owner financing. You can do that in commercial real estate. Like, I don't know of a situation in real estate where people aren't going to go back and renegotiate something. I mean, even when I was a regular agent, I had a house listed one time. We put it under contract for a purchase price. We went through the inspection, and the inspector found $5,000, let's say, worth of things that needed to be fixed or repaired. And we had the opportunity to either say, you know what, we'll fix this one and this one. Or we also had the opportunity to say, you know what, we'll just reduce the purchase price by $5,000 and they can fix it after they close. Or we had the right to say, peace out. And option number 3 is what my seller decided they wanted to do. They didn't want to renegotiate. They wanted their full purchase price. They didn't care what came up in the inspection. They weren't going to take any less. But 3 months went by and we had crickets on that listing. Had it under contract for $169. The inspection came back. It was going to be about $5,000 worth of work that needed to be done on the house, and we would have closed for about $164. And my seller would have been in sweet shape, could have gone on, lived his nice, happy life. But he decided not to renegotiate. He decided to just cut and run. And 3 months later, he called me and said, you know what, Whit, let's just reduce the price on that thing to $129. That was the last listing I ever did, and that's why I refuse to act like a regular real estate agent, because if I'd known he would have gone down to $129, I would have pushed a whole lot harder to just do a $5,000 reduction, renegotiation on that other deal. Don't forget, this thing isn't closed. You're not locked in and bound and going to be shot if you go back and renegotiate. Renegotiations happen all the time, all over the place. And renegotiations can happen for lots of different reasons. Say you thought you were going to get financing for 90% and you're only going to get financing for 80%. But you got the money, you can still close. Well, technically you have to go back and renegotiate with the seller and say, hey, I'm not going to get as much money, but I still can close this deal. We need to do another contract. You can renegotiate on a deal because, I'll tell you, when we were buying our apartment complex, we had a really great purchase price on it. We had really great stuff on it. And then we found out that there was a leak in one of the units. So we went back and said, you know what? We're going to need a reduction in the purchase price because of this unknown when we went under contract the first time. So we got another purchase and sale contract filled out for a lower purchase price. When you're making verbal offers, just start making those verbal offers. But when you're filling out the contracts, get those contracts signed. Get into your due diligence process. Once you find out stuff, you can go back and renegotiate. You can go get the inspection report, and it may be more than you thought it was going to be to redo anything and everything. Go back and tell your seller. They're the ones that haven't been keeping up with the maintenance on this property. Just because they got a bad deal doesn't mean you have to inherit it. And you can go back and renegotiate and say, you know what? We're either going to renegotiate on this purchase price, or we're going to renegotiate on what I got to put down, or we're going to renegotiate on this, that, and the other, or I'm going to walk. Paul says, absolutely. He says this is the dopest message of the day. Renegotiate on everything. Everything. Everything is up to negotiation. Until you get to the closing table, the negotiations are open. They're open. You can negotiate whether you want the furniture left in the house or not. All right? I've seen some houses where the sellers were like, you know what, we're just going to give you the furniture. And I was like, God bless America. It's going to cost me $5,000 to get all this shit out of here. I don't want it. You get it out. I've been in some houses and I'm like, will you leave the furniture for this purchase price? Renegotiate on everything. especially when you're making verbal offers. Throw some numbers out, all right? And they're just numbers. You don't have to be emotionally attached to the numbers that you're putting out. They're just numbers. And the house doesn't care what number you attach to it. And whatever research you've done, whatever comps you have, whatever hours you've spent making sure you get the right number, it can be total bullshit. You could also spend about 3 seconds coming up with a number to attach to the house because it's just a number, and what you think and what the seller thinks has nothing to do with what the market thinks. I've been proved wrong lots of times. I've been proved right a few times too, all right? And I've gone back, and you don't always have to renegotiate lower. I've gone back, especially on rent-to-own and lease option deals, I've gone back and offered my sellers either more money in the purchase price, or I've offered them a faster close. But I've gone back to the seller and said, hey, I'm going to be able to give you $5,000 now if you'll reduce the purchase price by $20,000. $5,000 now versus $20,000 later. Which would you rather have? You can renegotiate on anything. I've gone back to sellers and said, you know what, I'm going to give you $100 more per month. A renegotiation doesn't have to be a reduced negotiation. It's just a renegotiation. We're just opening the conversation again. And I'll tell you one thing, especially when you're dealing with sellers, when you're talking about rent to own, when you're talking about lease options, when you're talking about creative financing, whether it's owner financing or whatever it is, and you're talking about renegotiations, like renegotiations happen in the first 5 minutes and they'll happen in the last 5 hours. But one thing is true, and it's true in real estate, it's true in your relationships, it's true in everything. I don't think I've ever seen problems come up when there's too much communication. I mean, it can be kind of annoying sometimes, right? But usually the problems come up, especially in a renegotiation, when there's a lack of communication. Y'all keep those communication lines open with your sellers, keep them open with your buyers, keep the communication lines open with your team, keep the communication lines open with your attorney, keep communication lines open with your spouse. Let everybody know what you got going on, and the truth always wins. The truth always wins. And when you tell the truth, you don't have to keep up with who you told what to, because you told everybody the same damn thing. Renegotiate everything. Everything in life is a negotiation. Everything in real estate is a negotiation. Even after it's closed, you're starting to negotiate on the next deal. Maybe with those sellers, but maybe not. And the way you treat sellers during a renegotiation, the way you treat the buyers during a renegotiation, the way you treat the title company during a renegotiation, the way you treat everybody during a renegotiation is going to be the way they recommend you to the next people. I know we live in a big old world, but we live in small towns, and they get smaller by the day, because the more you're out there, the more you're doing, the more you're renegotiating, the more deals you're closing, the more money you're making, the more opportunity that you have signs out on the road, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and suddenly everybody knows you. All right, remember that when you're renegotiating. Renegotiate everything. Keep open lines of communication. Tell the truth. I mean, gosh, I feel like your mama's probably told you these rules before, huh? Whether you're getting rent-to-own deals, lease option deals, owner financing deals, whatever deals it is that you're working, creative financing, whether you are still working as a regular real estate agent and chasing that clear to close, whatever it is that you got going on, renegotiate everything. Be prepared to renegotiate everything. Nobody's going to get their feelings hurt that you want to come back and change something around. You want to do something different. I mean, it happens. All right, a renegotiation can just be the closing date got pushed. How many times do you think banks renegotiate closing dates? When you got a foreclosed property, you are at the whim of the bank. They are telling you everything that's going on, when you're going to do what, how high you're going to jump, and which hoops you're going to go through. All of that is renegotiation because you basically agree to it. You have to. Luckily, when you're not dealing with banks, the way I buy houses, you're working with people, you're working with sellers, you just have to remember to try to keep that emotion out of it. Remember that this house doesn't care what number you attach to it. It doesn't care how long, how many days it takes you to close. It doesn't matter what the inspector says. This house is going to be here today, tomorrow, and yesterday. And just like when you're negotiating, though, you have to remember to give your seller a win, or you have to be able to show them why you really need this thing that you're asking for. Maybe it comes from the inspector, maybe it comes from the market, maybe it comes from your experience, but try to give your seller a win. Try to give your buyer a win. If you're going to renegotiate, make sure there's something in it for them. If y'all have any other questions, let me know. But please, please, please don't forget to renegotiate. Now, if everything's running amazing and you don't need to renegotiate, then, don't do it if you don't have to. But always know that that card is in your pocket. It'll save a deal a lot of different times. Don't be afraid to use it. There's nothing wrong with a renegotiation. All right, and I am off to the title company today. Yay! I am digging into becoming a private money lender myself as my next stage in my real estate investing career. And I'm going to the title company to find out what I need and how I need to prepare it and what they want me to have in place so that it's easy for them to use my money and easy for me to sell my money. So I'm going to get an education myself this afternoon on becoming a private money lender. If you want more information on what I'm doing, how I'm learning it, I've partnered up with April Crosley, who is a brilliant businesswoman, and she has millions of dollars that she uses, that she spends of other people's money. All right, we got a program called Private Money Profits. All the details for that are on www.privatemoneyprofits.pro. Not .com, .pro. But once you get good at buying houses and renegotiating and buying more houses and renegotiating, then you get into apartments and then you really learn how to renegotiate, and then you get into industrial properties and you get into big commercial properties and you get into all sorts of stuff and you renegotiate, and then you start buying and selling money, and you got to be a really good renegotiator. You got to be a good negotiator and a really good renegotiator. So I'm learning how to do that myself now. We're all in growth phases, all right? Whether you're brand new to real estate investing or whether you've been at it for 20 or 30 years, there's always something new. There's always something to learn. There's always other ways to grow wealth. And I'll tell you everything I find out. All right, I'm out of here. All right, bye y'all.